Today we're going to discuss active verbs for discussing ideas. Just as verbs are extremely important when you're writing a narrative to kind of show and not tell, verbs are just as important when we write literary analysis or if we write informational text or argument as well. So we want to think through the words that we are using. So this handout has two pieces to it. Let's look at the second one first. We can say Paul said the article was weak, right? But we could also say Paul argues that the article is weak. So we want to show what the author is doing in the text when we're doing kind of a literary analysis. So instead of saying, in his latest book, John Marmot states, we could say in his book, The Status Syndrome, John Marmot hypothesizes. So we want to make sure that we are using strong words to describe what is happening in the text, or what is happening in the text that we are creating, either or. So you want to look at these and think about them. Like informs is a pretty neutral word. It doesn't necessarily have a positive or a negative kind of connotation with it. But if someone exaggerates, that means that we are inferring as a reader that they are probably not being totally truthful. And so that shows me that you have read something deeply. You can see the nuances with it, and you're picking it apart a bit more than just saying said. So exaggerates would be negative. When someone simplifies something, that can sometimes be negative because maybe you simplify homelessness when really it's a very complex issue. But then there are positive words like illuminates, like this author illuminates this idea about blah, 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 blah. And so illuminate, because it has light, is a very positive connotation. And so we know that the author feels positively and you feel positively towards the analysis. So I want you to kind of look through these words and think very deeply about what you want to use and what the author is doing in the text and how you can describe it in the best way instead of just saying says or said. Perhaps they are persuading, perhaps they are challenging, perhaps they're uncovering, perceiving, considering, contradicting. By this, you'll both show your reading capability, that you're able to deeply read something, and your writing capability, that you're able to choose the exact word that is important enough for you to put down in your analysis or in your text.